So you're thinking about adding AI to your company's tech stack, right? Well, let me tell you, this isn't some futuristic what if anymore. Nope, it's pretty much a crucial step if you want to stay competitive. Okay, so let's just dive right in and break down how to do this the right way. I know, it's a blunt question, but we kind of have to ask it. In today's world, how fast you adopt new tech can literally be the difference between leading your industry and just trying to keep your head above water. And just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just friendly advice, it's a pretty stark warning. The clock is ticking. What used to be a cool advantage is fast becoming the absolute baseline for even being in the game. So here's our game plan. We're going to talk about why you need AI like yesterday, then how to get your tech ready for it, how to pick the right tools, the actual step-by-step playbook for getting it all hooked up, and finally, how to keep your AI in top shape long after you go live. All right, first things first, why all the fuss? Why is this so urgent? Let's get into the real-world business benefits that make AI such a game changer. Let's be super clear here. AI isn't some magic wand you just wave. It's more like a super-powered toolkit, and it helps you in 4 huge ways. 1, it automates all that boring, repetitive work so your team can focus on the stuff that actually matters. 2, it digs through your data and finds hidden gems, insights for making way smarter decisions. 3, it helps you find ways to be more efficient, which leads to real cost savings. And 4, it helps you create these amazing, personalized experiences for your customers. Okay, before you can even think about plugging in some shiny new AI tool, you have got to get your house in order. This part is all about laying that solid foundation. This really boils down to 3 critical steps. First, you have to audit your entire tech stack. You need to know every system you have, and this is the key part, how they all talk to each other. Think of it like drawing a map that's going to show you exactly where AI can fit in. Then you got to check if your data formats are compatible. And finally, you have to clean your data. Seriously, remember the old saying, garbage in, garbage out? It has never been more true than it is with AI. And this is just a perfect example of the challenge. Data is almost always the biggest hurdle. You might have these older systems that spit out data in a format like CSV, which is basically just a simple spreadsheet. But guess what? Most modern AI tools prefer something more flexible, like JSON. Making sure they can all speak the same language is absolutely non-negotiable. So, your foundation is solid. Now it's time for the fun part. You get to go shopping. But how on earth do you choose the right AI tools for what you actually need? Your first big choice usually comes down to this. Are you looking for a plug-and-play solution that's super easy to install, kind of like a plugin? Or do you need the raw power and flexibility of a custom connection, which we call an API? Let's break them down. Now, what's so great about this is you can see the trade-offs so clearly. Plugins, they're low in complexity, lower in cost. They're perfect if you just want to get started quickly. APIs, on the other hand, well, they're for when you need that deep, custom integration. It's like the difference between just plugging in a new lamp in your living room versus hiring a contractor to build a whole new sunroom. It's more work for sure, but the result is perfectly tailored to you. The next question is, where is this AI gonna live? If you go with a cloud solution, you get amazing flexibility and lower costs to start, but you do hand over some control of your data. On-premises means you have total control over your data, your hardware, everything. But it comes with a much bigger price tag up front and a lot more work for your IT team. All right, you've done the prep work, you've picked your tools, now it's time to get your hands dirty. Let's talk about the practical, hands-on steps for actually putting these things into place. So here's your high-level playbook for a smooth rollout. First, you define some really clear goals. Then you configure the tools to meet those goals. After that, you test, and test again. And finally, you deploy it in smaller, manageable stages, instead of just flipping a giant switch all at once. Let's really zero in on that first step because it's so important. Defining goals can't be some vague, fuzzy thing. You need specific, measurable metrics. A goal like reduce inventory waste by 20% in 60 days. Well, that gives you a crystal clear target. You know exactly what you're aiming for and by when. And when it's time to test, please do not cut corners. You need to create a realistic environment using real-world data. That's been anonymized, of course. You need to check for both speed and accuracy. But maybe most important of all, have a rollback plan. Why? Because even with the best testing in the world, things can go sideways. You need to be able to hit the undo button in a heartbeat if your new AI tool starts causing chaos. So you did it. You launched, Everything's working. You're seeing good results. Awesome. But the work isn't done. Not even close. In fact, a whole new phase is just getting started. And that brings us to our final section, the ongoing maintenance. This is all the stuff you need to do to keep your AI tools effective and optimized for the long haul. See, AI integration is not a one-and-done project. It's a living, breathing cycle. It means you're always training your team to keep their skills sharp. You're constantly monitoring performance to catch issues early. You're committed to making things better based on the data you're seeing. And you're regularly checking on costs and security to make sure everything's efficient and, safe. And when you're monitoring performance, you have to look at two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got the technical stuff, API response times, error rates, that kind of thing. But on the other side, you have to track the business outcomes. Is customer satisfaction actually going up? Is your team really more productive? That is the true measure of success. So, after all that planning, all that prep, all that integration, you're finally there. Your AI is ready and waiting. The whole process is done, but the potential is really just beginning. Which leaves us with one last really exciting question to think about. What are you going to ask it to do first?